Hello, everyone, and welcome to the BeardZone Sports Talk. My name is David. I got Carlos with me as always. And just like last week, we are going to be continuing our fantasy football breakdown. This is really just kind of giving you the input from who we feel is going to be the top five at that said position. So last week we talked about the quarterback, so be sure to go ahead and check that out. The link in the description is down below for that one. This week, we are going to be diving into the running back position, which is the most exciting position, in my opinion, for fantasy football. So I'm very excited about this. This position, you have to have a lot of depth in because there's going to be injuries. There's going to be things that, some of the guys that you draft are just not going to work out. That's just how it goes. But this is the position where I feel like you should have the most depth in. So let's go ahead and dive right into that. Carlos, last year, I'm just gonna give you the top 5 running backs from last year. And what I would like you to do is tell me who you think is gonna slide out of that top 5 and who you see sticking around that top 5 here. So for last year, 2024 fantasy football, in the running back position from 1st to 5th, we have Jamar Gibbs from the Detroit Lions. I know you know that guy very well. Saquon Barkley from the Philadelphia Eagles, Bijan Robinson from the Atlanta Falcons, Derrick Henry from the Baltimore Ravens, and then Devon Achane from the Miami Dolphins at number 5. So, Carlos, out of those 5 guys, do you see any of them staying in the top 5? Do you see all of them staying in the top 5? What is your input on this?
That's a good one. But I don't remember who the top 5 were.
Jeez. Just,
sometimes
it's like talking to a brick wall. Jeez, Pete, man. We got Jamar Gibbs, Saquon Barkley, Bijan, Derrick, and Devon Achane. So out of those 5 guys, who do you see sticking around?
Definitely Bijan. Bijan, I think he stays in that top 5. Bijan for sure.
Yeah.
I think Saquon stays in there a little bit. Who worries me a little bit staying in that top 5 is Gibbs. The only reason is because Montgomery's back healthy. So when Montgomery's back healthy, he loses about 5 points per game. So he's averaging a little over 20, but when Montgomery is on the field, he's around that mid to high teens because Montgomery gets the goal line touches, and Montgomery's a good back, man. I ran both of those guys when they were both healthy in the league, played them both, and was not disappointed. So with Gibbs, and I know he's going high. He's a first round, and he's probably within the top 8 picks. But he's a guy, and it's not saying that he's not the guy worthy of a first round pick. So let's make that clear. But I think he's the guy that he can fall out, and we're going on assuming everybody's healthy. I'm putting Christian McCaffrey back in that top
5. Okay, I'm not mad at Christian McCaffrey, CMC coming back into the top 5. The Madden curse was real last year, so I know fantasy owners were extremely upset. Some fantasy owners are a little worried about Saquon Barkley now that he is the cover athlete of Madden. So hopefully the Madden curse does not hit Saquon Barkley.
I might have 2. I might have 2 coming out of that top 5.
Well, who's your second?
The Iron Man himself, Derrick Henry. I don't think he finishes in that top 5.
It's so hard to say, though, man.
It is. It is very hard to say with him. I'm taking him out of that top 5. There is a guy. Is another one of these that's healthy. Man, I don't even want to even go there. You know what? I'm going to change it. I was going to go with Jonathan Taylor. When healthy, this guy's a beast. At the end of the year, he was over 20 points a game. He's good. But there's a new kid on the block that's going to catch the ball a lot, and he's going to run the ball a lot. I'm going Genty. Slips into that 5th spot.
The rookie?
The rookie. I'm going with the rookie.
Wow. I know that Genty is a hot commodity in a lot of fantasy drafts this year. You know, so I just kind of went back a couple of years. The top 5 running backs have been pretty much all different for the last couple of years. You, a couple of names have been consistent, but I mean, Derrick Henry wasn't in the top 5 last year. I think he was like number
Mm-hmm.
like 11 or something like that when I was just looking. So it's very interesting. Dude, Travis Etienne was number like 3 just a couple of years ago. Rashad White
Yeah.
was in the top 5, a couple of years ago. So it's definitely very interchangeable with these running backs. There's been a lot of love for the running back class. There's definitely there's one guy in here that I'm gonna say for sure is gonna be in the top 5, and that's Bijan Robinson. This kid, I think he's not going
Yeah.
anywhere. As a Tampa
Mm-hmm.
fan, I hate to see him, twice a year on Sundays. But fantasy wise, if he's on my team, go Bijan. So I mean, I'm all about that. You put him out of your top 5. I'm not taking Derrick Henry out of my top 5. I think that this guy has been consistent, very consistent with the Baltimore Ravens. I really like him with that, kind of new energy that he's found. It just seems like that this guy is aging like fine wine. So those 2 guys I'm going to leave in, but the other ones I'm going to go ahead and remove. Now, this is not to say that they are going to be falling off of the face of the earth. No, they're going to be good.
No.
Those guys, Gibbs ain't going nowhere. Saquon Barkley is not going anywhere. I don't even think Devon Chain is going anywhere, but I don't think that they're going to be in the top 5. There are some guys that I am going to be moving up into the top 5. One of them is nothing other than Mr. Oregon himself, Bucky Irving. This kid last
What?
year, come on. This guy last year, man, was absolutely lights out. He ended up finishing number 13, yes, last year with rookies, or I'm not just with rookies, but in the running back class. I think that he's going to really take a next step forward. I think that he's just going to get nothing but better. I think he's going to have an absolute monster year. So Bucky Irving is going to be in my top 5. Hate on me all you want to in the comment section. That is okay. So
I do need one thing. How do you spell Delulu?
delusional, yeah. So, but I'm gonna go with Bucky Irving. I'm very happy to have him on my dynasty league. I'm glad that I drafted him. There's another one out there that I feel like he's gonna move up. He was number 10 last year in fantasy points overall for running backs, and that is Chase Brown from the Cincinnati Bengals. I think that this guy is kind of a Mr. Consistent guy. He's gonna I feel like he's going to take a step up and move himself into the top 5. And then I have Jonathan Taylor for kind of finishing up. When this guy is healthy, just like you said it, man, he's on another level. And I still, because they don't know what they're Anthony Richardson, Daniel Jones, they have Michael Pittman, who I think is a good wide receiver. Unfortunately, he just can't get a consistent quarterback there. So, but I mean, and now they have Tyler Warren, which I think, let's not forget, Tyler Warren is also a very good blocking tight end
Yeah.
as well. So he's going to help in with that. I think Jonathan Taylor is going to reap the benefits of the quarterback, kind of inconsistency there. The running game is going to be heavy, and I think that Jonathan Taylor is going to find himself back in the top 5. So those are my top 5, Carlos. I know that you don't necessarily agree with Bucky Irving, but I'm okay. It's okay
Where's
to be
Bucky?
biased.
Give me your top 5 in order.
In order,
5 to 1.
5 to 1. Okay, I got Chase Brown, Bucky Irving, Derrick Henry, JT, and then Bijan.
Wow. That's a bold move, Cotton.
Who's your 5? From 5 to 1.
I'm going Ginty,
At 5?
Yeah. A-Chain, number 4, Barkley 3, McCaffrey 2, and Bijan 1. I think Bijan's arguably the number 1 pick in the draft.
Yeah. I would agree with that.
Yeah, he's got 8 games that are very favorable defensive wise, where he can put up some points. Just in his division. In his division, it's not the strongest defensive division.
No, and like I said, I hated seeing him twice a year. So, but Bijan is definitely got to be a consistent guy there at the top. Carlos, who is your sleeper? Who's a guy who you feel is just not getting enough appreciation, and maybe he should?
Oh man,
Outside of myself.
I think a guy that you can get late, and if we're looking at a guy who's consistent, doesn't have a lot of competition in the backfield, and should be a pretty decent offense, is I'm going to roll with James Conner, man. He doesn't have a whole lot of competition. He's got Trey Benson, but he's a guy that I feel you can get
you
late.
You stole my guy, though.
All right, let's come back, because I've got two. And
who's your other guy?
The other guy is Trevor Hubbard. Every year, this guy, they keep bringing in people to replace him, and he's just like, "Hey, rookie, go sit over there. I'm not leaving." He's like that guy squatting at your head. I'm not leaving. Yeah, so he's another guy that you can pick up late, and you get good production out of him. You'll get some. I don't think you get a ton of spikes. You get a couple, but if you're talking a guy who can give you 17 to 18 points a game, and that's not bad coming out of the. You're talking a guy that you can get in round 8.
Yeah, I know. It's always so funny because Chuba Hubbard is one of those guys who I see him on the board, and I'm like, okay, all right, I'm going to get him. Man, I can't believe he's still on the board. And then he always gets picked like right before my pick, and I'm like, dang it, man! If I would have just been paying attention just a little bit more, I wish I would have picked him up. But I just said it not to spoil anything, but James Conner is a guy who I've been looking at. He's so consistent. I don't feel like he gets enough love for the consistency that he puts up out there in Arizona. And Carlos, not to get too sidetracked here, but do we remember another Arizona Cardinal running back that had maybe 2 or 3 fantastic football seasons and then dropped off the face of the earth? David Johnson. Dude.
Yeah, but he got
what happened?
He got that wrist injury and just I don't know. He fell off the face of the earth and he got traded. And yeah, I don't know. I got nothing for you on that one.
Yeah, but James Conner, he's consistent. I really like him. If you just need a guy to get you, anywhere from 12 to 15 points a week, he's your guy, I feel like. That's got to be what James Conner brings to the table. There's so many other names, though, here, Carlos, with the running back position. We have Kyren Williams with the Los Angeles Rams. We have James Cook. We have Alvin Kamara.
I'm not on the Cook train.
You're not on the James Cook train?
18 touchdowns last year. He's not repeating that. No way in hell he's getting another 18. That's probably going to go down to 8, 9. You're losing 10 touchdowns off a guy, and I'm not on that James Cook train. You can draft him early, and I hope to see him go early because that just means that somebody I want is one step closer. I think if there's an overrated guy for me, it's James Cook. Now, I know Buffalo fans. I'm the Miami guy. I get it. But he is not repeating that many touchdowns again. It is not going to happen.
He's going to get 19 now. 9 of them being against Miami. 9 of them being against Miami. So, but Joe Mixon, can't forget about Joe Mixon. Breece Hall, I feel like, is still someone who no one should really sleep on. J.K. Dobbins with Denver. Let's see how that goes with the whole R.J. Harvey.
That's a good one. He's taking first-team reps.
I know. I saw that.
That's a good one. I think this year's running backs are deeper. I think we have a very solid – there's probably 16, 17 running backs that will filter down into the late rounds. Now, they're not the elites like our top 5s that are going to get you where you could have that 35, 40-point week. But there's a lot of consistency there. So it's going to be an interesting year. Where do these running backs go, after the top 5 or people perceive it as their top 5? What do you do? Do you start loading up on wide receiver? Because I feel like wide receiver starts to dwindle very quickly around that round 6.
Yeah.
It goes.
You're
yeah. You're starting to look at some rookies in those later rounds, and you're like, man, I went running back heavy early, and I get it, but is a Doomsday? Is he my number? That's my number one. Like, that's a tough one.
Yeah. So, Carlos, before we leave here, we've set our top 5. We set our sleepers. But who's one guy that maybe is going to just fall? And maybe is forgotten about? That you could pick up and maybe the last couple of rounds. That could be your Tyson, your who is it? Taysom Hill, who
No,
can win you.
Tyrone Tracy.
No. Taysom Hill. He always has that one crazy 40-point game per year and helps a couple of helps teams win. Who's a guy that you are seeing that maybe could have a breakout game just to help you win a week if you put him in against the right team?
Man, you mentioned him already. A guy that was a couple years ago, first round pick, big year in fantasy is NTN Jr. He is so far down the board, and they've got Tutton and Bigsby supposedly going to take all this guy's carries, but he's still number one. And you got a healthy Trevor Lawrence finally. You got an offensive coordinator, and Liam Cohen, that should be able to help him. You have a new offense that is more like what he saw at Clemson. That is a guy that's going to fall very far.
Yeah,
that's definitely a guy that's on my little cheat sheet of hey, I'm down to round 11. If he's still there, I'm taking him.
I don't blame you on that at all. Carlos, can I change my sleeper? Because there's a guy who I completely forgot about, and I just remembered him.
As long as it's not R.J. Harvey.
It is not R.J. Harvey. It is a rookie who was a rookie last year, so he's coming into his second year. But that is Tyrone Tracy Jr. with the New York Giants. This guy had a really good year last year, and he started to really produce there at the end. I know, man. I like Scatabo. I think Scatabo is going to be a goal line third.
That's your guy. I think that you take for that one big week. Scatabo is going to have a week where it's 25, 30 points. You're going to be the waiver wire is going to go crazy to pick him up.
Oh, for sure. It's going to go insane.
Especially in that an auction where you have so much money, somebody's going to drop $50 on him and be and then he's not going to do anything.
He's not going to.
No.
All right, back to the bench. Scatabo. Yeah. I'm excited to see what Scatabo does, but I think Tyrone Tracy Jr. there is going to be. He's a guy that maybe kind of circle. Keep an eye on him if you start to see him, in some of those mid to late rounds for sure. But next week, Carlos, we are going to dive into the wide receivers. Catch it. There you go. So we talked quarterback. We got running backs. Now we're going to help you out. Maybe not help you out, but just kind of give you some knowledge on what we're seeing for fantasy. But be sure to hit that subscribe button, hit that like button. We appreciate it. Back next Friday at 1 p.m. And until then.